Hello and welcome to Mike's Garage. If you've already subscribed to our channel, thank you very much. If you haven't, please do. And when you do, be sure and tap on the little notification bell so you'll be notified every time our videos come up. Every time we put a new one up. That's what I was trying to say. Anyway, we've been kind of going nuts here lately, but we're getting more stuff done, and I'm really excited because a bunch of stuff came in, and that always excites me because that's what I'm about. That's what I do, is this old motorcycle stuff. And I was looking through my stuff, and shock and amazement, I should probably start somewhere interesting. Golly, it's all interesting. All right. Let's start with the flywheel assembly. I haven't even cleaned these flywheels up yet because I wasn't ready to use them. So they're going to go in the sink. They are a stock pair of Flathead 80 flywheels. They're the same as 74-inch Flathead. 74 and 80-inch Flathead have the same stroke, different bore. So these are the big ones, 74 and 80-inch. That's a 4 and 9/32 stroke. There they are. And I just started picking up bits and pieces to put them together so they would look like an assembly just for my own personal mock-up stuff. And so I did. Looking around through all my stuff, I found a brand new crank pin I didn't know I had. Okay, this is what's called a step pin, and Harley used them right up to about 1940, 1936, I think was the first for these, unless the VL uses the same one. I don't think so. But anyway, this is the proper step pin. Smaller out here. This is where the rods run. I have a pair of rods that are going to the gentleman who's going to rebuild them for me. Going to have my rods rebuilt. Rods for these are a little hard to come by. I'm very fortunate I have a couple pairs, so at least one pair is going to be good enough to do. They'll probably have to be magnafluxed to be certain that they aren't cracked or anything. Anyway, but my new stuff came in, so as we can see with this flywheel assembly, let's just take it apart for fun. Okay, that's the right flywheel. There's the step crank pin in it. This is an old crank pin, and we're putting a new one in. The right side is keyed, the left side is not. See the tapers, the way they go together. The right side is keyed because this flywheel and everything here has to time together properly. So this one is keyed on the sprocket, on the pinion shaft side. So you can see it on the new crank pin here. Turn it so it's going in the right direction. So we've got a crank pin, that's one of these, and we've got a new pinion shaft. This is, these are big ticket items, and it's kind of exciting. Projects get slowed down over parts like these. I'm not here to quote prices or talk manufacturers or anything else. All I'm telling you is that's a beautiful piece of machinery. And I'm not going to tear it open until I'm ready to install it. But that is the new pinion shaft, and it's way cool. And it's, like I said, I've got to take those flywheels and put them in the sonic cleaner and get them surgically clean, surgically sanitary, whatever. They're going to be clean. Next thing is the Sprocket shaft, which is the output shaft of the motor. And it's right here. Pretty impressive, too. Now that's keyed on both ends, I believe. Isn't it? Yes. One end goes into the flywheel, the other end, the sprocket, or in this case, pulley, will go on because we are going to run a belt drive. So thinking through as I go, and I order and buy all this neat stuff. I say, okay, new sprocket shaft, new pinion shaft, new crank pin. We're just going to have everything here with this flywheel assembly all rebuilt. We'll have all new thrust washers and everything in there to get everything centered. And hopefully I'll be able to show all of that on the videos as we do it. But one of the things to always think about, and this is something I'm always harping on people about too. I apologize if I harp too much. Harp. I get people writing in and asking me all the time, I'm putting a belt drive on my old bike and all this oil comes out around the motor shaft and what do I do about it? Well, you put a seal in there. They make a seal for it. Well, what do I need? What bike do you have? That's the thing I'm harping about. What bike do you have? Well, it's a panhead. Well, let's see. Harley made panheads from 1948 to 1965, and they made a lot of changes in them along the way. Now, this particular seal fits 1940 to 1954. So if you have a 55 panhead, you don't want to buy this seal. There's a different one you buy. That's the point I'm getting at. That's why I get really upset when I get asked questions and I don't know what you have. So please be sure and tell me. And again, this one is for 40 to 54. So this will fit my 1940 Flathead 80. This fits all of the big twins from 1940 to 54. You know, I did mention that we did finish these bearing races. I don't know if you can really see them, but they are the proper shade of gray and absolutely lovely and even all the way across. So we should be able to fit new bearings to those without too much trouble. So I got two of these seals because one of my other bikes is leaking and uses the same seal, so I just went ahead and ordered two of them. And that takes care of that. I wanted to mention that while I was on the sprocket shaft because that's where it goes. All right, so that takes care of the flywheel parts. In our last video, we put new tappet rollers on the tappets, and I promised myself, and I mentioned it to everyone else, that I was... I don't care if that gets dirty, it's an old one, that I was going to put new tappet screws and nuts. This is the lock nut and the tappet screw. You can see that has a brand new surface and a brand new valve is going to fit against that. I haven't ordered the valves yet. I do a little more research on those valves. But, so there's a new tappet screw set. I got the whole set of those. And the old one that I'm taking off of there is not in bad shape. It's a little worn, but not badly. It's just that I want all new surfaces. And so this will go in the drawer of good used stuff. In an emergency, this good used stuff comes into play. It can be for me, it can be for somebody else. I don't care. If we need it, it's really nice to open the drawer because this stuff is all expensive and sometimes takes quite a while to get. It's not the sort of thing that every dealer is going to have in stock. Sure, I got tappet screws for your big flathead. I know your big flathead was built in 1940. No, I don't think I have any of those, you know. So you kind of don't throw them on the floor like I did. Anyway, so that takes care of the tappet screws and the seals and these shafts that I got for the flywheel assembly. Oh, and the nuts. I got new nuts. I got for the crank pin, I got brand new nuts. That's for the, they go like on the crank pin like so. And you're really going to torque them to a lot of torque, like well over 100 pounds. I don't remember what the number is, but I will be using one of those high numbers. I want to use really good stuff. Nuts like those are expensive. I buy them. I figure when I buy them for a motor, I'm going to buy them once and they're going to be there a long time. I don't mind paying for things like that. It just makes the space between videos a little longer, that's all. It's just the way it is. It's all right. Okay, so we got the nuts for the crank pin and for the sprocket, or the pinion shaft, and the sprocket shaft, and we got the tappet screws for the tappets. The tappet rollers we've already installed. So that's pretty much it for now. What I did, I've been asked I don't know how many times about this motor stand. That motor stand is one of my favorite things. That was built by one of my buddies for me as a gift one time. Years ago, people didn't buy whole motors like they do now. With all the motors being available that are today, there's always motor stands that come with them. So nowadays, everybody has a motor stand. Back in the day, we didn't all have motor stands, and a lot of them were made at home. The Harley manual would even show you how to make a square box out of 2x4s to set the motor in while you were working on it. And then Harley had Kent Moore tools that made the motor stands for the mechanics. This particular one was made by a friend of mine as a gift for me. His name was Steve Lim Paris, one of the best friends a guy could ever have. And he passed away a couple years ago. There are things all through my house and on my truck and on my bikes and everywhere you go in my place, stuff that my buddy Stevie made for me. But this thing is really cool because it's really, really solid. It's made out of aluminum. It doesn't weigh much. I think it's really pretty to look at. All that heli-arcing that he did is pretty cool. And when you put a pair of cases on here and you split them, this oil trough here catches the oil for you instead of going all over the bench. It's a pretty neat stand, and it was very well thought out by Stevie. So I just thought I'd show it off just for fun. That takes care of that. What else I wanted to mention, and I'll mention it again, I'm sure, before it comes up, but October 15th, and I know that when I mention these dates and these places that people all over the world see our videos, which is really, really neat. But I advertise the stuff that I'm going to go to. It's not really advertising it. It's more sharing it because hopefully I'll see you there, anyone who's in the area and can go. This is the El Camino swap meet. It's at El Camino College on October 15th. It is an antique motorcycle show and swap meet. In Southern California, that swap meet and show is a real tradition, and I see people there that I haven't seen in years from all over the country. And I also like to say, when I was at Born Free, I met people from Europe that came there to meet us, and so, if you're not busy, I don't care where you're from. If you're not busy, by all means, please come to the El Camino show and swap meet on October 15th. So hopefully I'll see you there. Other than that, I think we showed about as much as we can for now. So I think that does it for now. Until next time. What else? I want to mention t-shirts. We do have our t-shirts. If you go to our website is pacificmike.com. And you'll find that on our YouTube channel. You'll find the address. And anyway, those are our shirts. So, until next time, I'll see you out on the road.